I'm Anna,
And I'm Fran.
and you're listening to Murder Words. All right, you guys, welcome back
To Murder Words.
Thank you for joining me on
I
this.
know, I never joined you
I
in.
felt like I needed support with it.
Well, you made me a daring eye contact at me like I had to. So I was like,
Like, you're
okay.
going to feel awkward until you join.
I could tell there was going to be a long pause of silence there.
Okay, you guys, so Fran's story this week, she's been telling me she's really excited to tell me the story. So we're just going to get right into it. And next week's. She has a whole list of exciting.
I do.
Maybe exciting is the wrong words.
Probably not. They're a victim, so
Yeah.
it's fine. It's going to be great.
Okay.
It's going to be great.
Great.
Okay. So today's story is one that's not well known, but should be.
Okay.
Okay. So the person that we're going to be exploring today is Mary Ann Cotton.
Cotton?
Cotton.
Okay.
And
That's a really cute name.
it really is.
Mary Ann Cotton.
Mary Ann Cotton.
That's cute.
Yes, it's from the 1800s.
Oh,
We're
okay.
doing an old one today. So the title of this episode will be "I'm Bad at Love."
Thank you. So I don't have to ask you before we post
No,
it.
and it's from that song exactly. Like, I'm bad at love. Okay, that one. It's exactly like the song. Okay.
Oh, okay. I know which one you're
Yeah,
talking about.
I'm bad
Oh.
at love.
Maybe we should play that one in the intro instead of our normal one.
Maybe we could put it at the end.
Okay, that's better. We're really confused people.
we'll work on that. Okay. So, this story of Mary Ann Cotton starts on October 31st, 1832, Halloween.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with Halloween. That's just what day she was born, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is pretty.
So it starts on Halloween.
Okay.
So Mary Ann Cotton was an English serial killer convicted of and hanged for the murder of her stepson, Charles Edward Cotton.
Okay.
It is said that she murdered three of her four husbands. Three of her four husbands, apparently to collect like the insurance policies attached to them.
Okay.
And she was also suspected of killing up to 21 people, including 11 of her 13 children.
What?
Yeah, she's hardcore, right?
Why is she killing her children?
Well, you're going to see.
Or anyone. She
Or
shouldn't kill anyone.
yes.
But that's...
18 and under is just forbidden.
Yeah.
So her primary weapon of choice was arsenic poisoning.
Okay.
Okay, we got a poison case.
Which is more rare, I hear. I see it all the time on the ID channel, but when they talk about it, they say it's actually kind of rare.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I mean, you'd have to have like a really good knowledge of poisons of something that would not like actually kill
Really
somebody.
show up and...
Well, not just that would be effective enough to kill a person, not just make them really sick.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Well, apparently it was pretty popular back then to have poisoning cases.
Oh, okay.
So back then it was cool. Maybe not now because we've advanced.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Mary Ann Cotton now. As I said, she was born on Halloween in 1832. That was a really cool fact. Her father, his name was Michael, and he married a woman named Margaret. And they also had a child. She had a sister named Margaret as well. He was born about 2 years after she was born.
Okay, I just want to throw out there. Do you see how they were both named with an M, and then their children were both named with... That's how it's supposed to be.
It's not how it's supposed to be.
Continue.
Okay.
That makes sense. They were following the rules.
Oh, yeah? I'm glad you said that, actually, because you're going to see how the story goes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, and you feel so convicted about that.
Okay. The parents, not Mary Ann.
No, I know what you're saying, but
Okay.
you're going to be interested in this part. Okay. Then they had, her parents had her little brother who was born in 1835. So when Mary was 8 years old, her parents moved to Durham Village in Merton. Her childhood was not a happy one.
Okay.
They said that both her parents were under 20 when they married, but I thought that was pretty old for in the 1800s, like the early 1800s. Usually it's like 16-year-olds getting married.
Yeah.
But they said they were both under 20, which I didn't think was weird at that time. Her father, Michael, he was a miner, and basically they were poor. They were really poor, He was super religious, and he was a fierce disciplined. And they also were very religious in the Methodist Church. Mary Ann Cotton's teacher described her as a regular attender, a girl of innocent disposition and average intelligence, and distinguished for her particularly clean and tidy appearance.
Oh.
A woman said to be in her day strikingly beautiful, kind and caring, with a sensitive nature.
In her day?
Yeah, like her youth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Remember, she's bad at love. So she's, super pretty and innocent and tidy.
Okay.
Okay? So just bear with me with the title.
Okay, I'm bearing with you.
Okay? So soon after they moved there to this little minor town, Mary Ann's father died. He fell at work down at 150 feet mine shaft or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really brutal. So they actually delivered her father's body back to her mother in a sack, one of the coal sacks.
Stop.
Yep, saying property of the South Heaton Coal Company. Just a sack, a barrel sack they just brought to him. Here you go.
I'm in a state of shock right now. Is that normal for that?
I don't know. I don't know if what else were they supposed to bring him in, I guess?
I mean,
I feel like there's blankets. They could have spared
anything else but a sack.
It says property of the coal mine.
Ooh.
Well,
that's traumatic.
I wrote that right in my side. It says that's traumatic.
That's very traumatic.
In my notes. So as so how they lived was, I don't know if you remember the old coal towns where they worked at the coal mines, but they also got tokens for food and basically paid back the company to live on their property.
No,
You ever heard of this?
That.
So yeah, these were really popular. So basically the coal mine would give them instead of wages, they would give them tokens that could only be used in that town that they built.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So if someone didn't work there anymore, they had to leave. And that way people get stuck in there all the time because they couldn't save any money.
Yeah.
Because all their money is given back in tokens to spend in the town.
I've never, is that a thing that happened here a lot too?
I'm pretty sure it happened here too, yeah. In West Virginia.
Wow.
But I'll have to double check on that because
okay. Yeah,
I know
I've literally
I know they existed. Because they were just the little coal towns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense, but it also sounds really terrifying. You're stuck.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what happened with people. They would get stuck. They would have no money for anything outside of the coal town.
Yeah, that's scary.
Mm-hmm. It was big business.
It makes me feel like I'm suffocating.
Yes, they probably did too because they had to leave immediately after that.
Yeah.
Because their father no longer worked there, so they couldn't live there anymore.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. I'm just not connecting that.
Yes.
So they were here's your husband in this sack and bye.
Yeah.
Get out.
You got to go though because your husband doesn't work here anymore, so he can't get any more tokens to spend around here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they weren't even hey. It was more
stay until you
hey,
figure something out.
Yeah,
they were pretty much get out.
They were evicted. Not even ran out of money. They were evicted.
Dude.
Mm-hmm. So in 1843, her mother did remarry, which is about a year after her father had passed, to a man named George Stott. He was also a miner, and they were still poor because he worked on a minor wages. And Mary did not get along with her stepdad whatsoever. He was very strict with her. And so what she decided to do was she decided to become a nurse in a neighboring town. And so what she did is she was basically a housekeeper and a nanny to this really rich guy who owned the mine.
Okay.
So she had a good job with it. But eventually they did, move on to school and they went to boarding school. So she lost her job and had to return back to live with her stepfather and her mother. So Mary's first objective was I'm going to get married. I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah.
Which a lot of girls did.
Yeah.
So she was known to be charming and beautiful, so they knew she would marry well. For a coal mine town, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't... they keep talking about her marrying well, and I don't see any evidence of it. But maybe in that time, that was marrying well.
Coal miners
Not back then.
Okay. I was thinking this the whole time. That's the job to have. That's a lot of money.
Well, if you think about it, that was the job. Remember when we talked about the slaughter children? All the immigrants came and got the jobs in the coal mines. So I don't imagine they were paid well.
Interesting. Okay.
In 1852, at the age of 20, Mary married a man named William Mowbray. So they were reported to have 4 or 5 children, but no one ever saw them. And basically back then, you didn't have to register births. Like, you didn't have to go somewhere and be like, hey, I had this baby, give me a birth certificate for it. It was just born on a farm.
Oh.
Yeah.
You didn't go to the hospital?
You didn't go to the no, you didn't go to the hospital. No, you didn't go to they're all mining around you. There's no hospitals.
Stop it. Okay.
So, they didn't have to register any of these children to the state. So none of them had a social security number.
Okay, so literally there was no record.
There was no record of their life whatsoever.
Okay.
But it is said that all 5 of the children did die. But there's no record of why they died or how they died. They did, I guess, record one child named Margaret Jan in 1856, about 4 years after they've been married.
Okay. They're really holding on to that family name, aren't they? Margaret.
You wait.
Okay.
So William and Mary, they decided they were going to move to northeast England. And there, William was going to work as basically like a ship person, like a carpenter.
Okay.
I looked it up because it says fireman aboard. So I was like, is that a
fireman aboard?
Fireman aboard. And I was like, what's that?
Like a boat fireman?
That's what I imagined, but then I was like, that's ridiculous. Boats don't typically have fires.
Okay.
So I was like, no, what does that mean? And it means he's a carpenter.
Okay.
So there's 2 selections. You either be a miner or a carpenter.
Fireman aboard.
Fireman aboard. So then eventually he did become like a foreman at the mine. So he went right back to mining.
Okay.
So when William and Mary moved to northeast England, they did have a daughter named Isabel. She was born in 1858. And so she was at that time their only surviving child.
Okay.
Another daughter, also named Margaret, was born in 1861. And lastly, they had a son together named John William, who was born in 1863.
She had 2 daughters, both named Margaret. One passed away, though.
One passed away.
So she renamed another child Margaret.
Yes. I told you like the M's. The M's were going to be interesting because it gets even crazier.
That's not what I even mean by you should just keep that letter. I don't mean the name. The actual... just the letter.
I know.
Just the first letter. Why is she doing that?
Well, we're going to keep going with it. I'm glad you said that in the beginning because it's going to keep happening.
Okay. That bothers me a lot. That's worse than changing the letter.
Well, John William, the youngest son, he ended up dying a year later from gastric fever, which basically means like tummy problems.
Okay.
So the life of her child was actually insured for money. The infant was actually insured through the British and Prudential Insurance Office, and Mary ended up collecting a $10 euro for her son, which is about like $2,000 probably, which was like, half a year's wages for them.
Yeah.
Well, then her husband ended up dying as well. He died from gastric internal disorder as well. And she received a $35 payout for him.
So, and is death just like a normal thing back then?
Well, keep your mind open. Keep your eyes open.
It's very open.
And we'll see what happens with it. Soon after he died, she remarried again to a man named George Ward. And they ended up moving to Seaman Harmer County in Durham. They all live in Durham.
Minor?
Probably. I didn't look, but I'm just going to go with yes.
Probably,
okay?
yeah.
Definitely a minor. So soon after William, her husband, died, Mary Ann struck up a relationship with a Joseph Nattrass. She, at that time, had a 3.5-year-old daughter, Margaret Jane. Remember from her first marriage?
How could I forget?
Yep, she died. She died of typhus fever.
The new Margaret?
The new Margaret died too.
Oh.
Yeah, new Margaret died. Margaret Jane this time. Mm-hmm. So now she only, out of her 6 children, she only has 1 left. So she returned to Sunderland and took employment at an infirmary working as a nurse. That's what she always does. She works as a nurse.
Okay.
She worked there in the House of Recovery for the Cure of Contagious Fever Dispensary in Human Society. Like
That was the name of the hospital?
It was, yes.
Why is it so long?
It's a very long name. There was probably no acronyms back then either.
What is happening?
So what she did was she sent her surviving child, Isabel, the only one that's still alive through all this, to live with her mother.
Margaret.
Yes, Margaret.
Okay.
Her mother, Margaret, had Isabel. So one of her patients at the infirmary was an engineer. I guess there is another job in here. Okay. George Ward was his name. They got married in 1865. And Ward, she met him when he was sick.
Yeah.
In the infirmary. In contagious disease recovery center for everything place. And he continued to suffer, throughout his life. He started to suffer. So they got married in August 1865, and he died on October 18th, 66. About a year after their marriage. And although he did have long-term problems, he actually died of paralysis and intestinal problems.
Paralysis?
Yes. Basically, he was just he couldn't move.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know what paralysis is.
So the cause of death, recorded on his death certificate, is basically typhoid. And the attending doctor was surprised that Ward had died. He had been ill for a long time, but he was surprised at the sudden turn of death for him. So once again, Mary collected insurance money on him.
Yeah. She's really getting a lot of money. She's going through it.
Here's the thing, not really. They're not huge amounts of money.
Well, probably to us now, but it was probably a lot back then.
No, I looked it up. I looked up how much that would be back then.
And it wasn't a lot?
It wasn't a lot. For her first husband was 35 euros, and she only got $3,000 out of it, which was half a year's wages back then. Which they didn't make anything, so not a lot of money.
Well, when you kill that many people,
I guess
she's killing them. I guess it just starts to add up.
She just takes the insurance checks and just makes it rain.
Yeah.
Doesn't even cash them.
I can see Mary out there with all of her family members. Margaret,
all the
Margarets just out there making it rain.
So she then met her third husband, James Robinson, shortly after her second husband's death. James had previously been married to a woman named Hannah, but she had recently passed away. She had a small child. That's not she died during childbirth. So here he is. Yeah. He's got this little baby, and he's upset that his wife is now passed. Yeah. He's a widow. So he decides to hire Mary as a housekeeper in that time. And this is a month after her second husband's death.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, about a month after she starts working there, James' baby dies.
Oh.
He was about a month old, and he died of gastric fever. So what happened? James Robinson turns to his housekeeper for comfort.
Yeah.
And she becomes pregnant again. Yep, Mary's pregnant again.
Okay. That escalated quickly.
So at this time, while her and James are they're not married yet, but she becomes pregnant. And all this is happening in a couple months.
Yeah.
Okay. Her mother becomes ill with hepatitis, which I was surprised that they were able to know that's what she was sick with at the time. Because I don't feel like you could have a test for it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But maybe they're more advanced than I'm thinking.
I don't know.
So Mary Ann went to go help her mother. And when Mary Ann went up there, her mom started to get a little better. But then 6 days after Mary got up there, she unfortunately died of gastric stomach pains.
How is no one catching on right now?
She died in 1867. Just a few months after she met James, then James' baby died. Yeah. And then she went up and she got pregnant literally within 4 months of all this happening. Okay. Isabel, her daughter from the previous marriages, comes back.
Okay, because she was living with her mom.
She was living with Margaret. Okay. Yep. And then her father remarried some other woman, which isn't really important to the story. Okay. But basically, he's like, I'm not dealing with this one. Yeah. This is your kid. We didn't get along in the first place. So, as soon as she came back, A couple weeks into it, she developed severe stomach problems and she died. Isabel dies too.
Dude.
Mm-hmm.
All of her children. That's all of them.
Yeah, at this point, it's all of them.
Okay.
Okay. So within a couple days, Elizabeth and another baby named James, who was James Robinson's kids from Hannah, who passed away, they both died. All children were buried in the last week of April of 1867.
Wow. She is really taking it to a whole nother level.
Mary Ann received a life insurance policy of €5 for Isabel. Told you, not much money, right?
Okay.
Not much money, like pocket change. €5.
Yeah.
So Robinson, James Robinson,
Yeah.
I guess cannot connect the dots. So he marries Mary in 1867. Right around the same time all this happens. He ends up marrying her. So then the baby she's pregnant with, they name it Margaret Isabel.
Stop it right now.
Their first child's name together is Margaret Isabel.
Stop.
She combined her previous two child's names to Margaret Isabel.
I am blown away by her decision making.
Yeah, I told you.
Okay.
How you feel with those M's now?
I am so shocked.
So she was born about a month after they got married, but unfortunately she became ill and died in February 1868. So she died in February of 1868. She was only 4 months old at that time.
Okay.
Yep. So then, shortly after that, they became pregnant again with their second child, George. And this is with, her current husband, James Robinson.
Okay.
So, Robinson, he gets suspicious of the wife. He's like,
He should.
all these people are dying. Like, there's
Yeah.
something weird going on with you. And then he finds out that she has insured his life for, like, a life insurance policy. And he's like, whoa, like, something weird's going, like, why didn't you tell me you were going to do this?
Yeah.
Then he finds out that she ran up debts of almost €60.
Oh.
So basically, all of her insurance payments combined behind his back, and had stolen more than €50 that was supposed to be inserted into the bank. Like, she had stole $50 of their money and then owed another 60.
Okay.
So she owed like 3 years worth of wages.
Yeah.
He decides to throw her out.
Oh.
He actually,
well, good for him.
He actually throws her out, and he remains custody of their son George.
Okay.
So George is away from mommy now.
That was a good move.
That was a really good move on his
Yeah.
part. So, Mary was desperate, living on the streets. She had nowhere to go, so then she met her friend, Margaret.
Yes.
And she introduced her to her brother, Frederick, who was a recent widower. Frederick had, didn't have his wife, had 4 children, but he had lost 2 in the process, so he still had 2 remaining children.
Okay.
Margaret, acted kind of as a substitute mother during that time for him.
And that's what he wanted.
Well, that's what he wanted.
To
Margaret,
take care of.
yes,
Someone
Margaret's.
to take care of his kids.
Well, Margaret's a sister.
Oh, he wanted a substitute.
Yes, but Margaret.
Margaret
is the sister,
and
was
she was
helping
acting as a substitute mom.
for his kids because
Okay.
his wife had died, and he still had, and then 2 kids died, and then the 2 were still remaining. So Margaret, his sister, was like, "I got you, bro."
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So
I thought she had introduced Mary Ann, and Mary Ann was acting as the substitute mom.
no, Margaret's the stepmom, right? Like the
Okay.
substitute mom right now.
Okay, it's making sense.
Okay. But March 1870, Margaret died of stomach ailment, leaving Mary to console the grieving Frederick,
Stop it. She likes that part.
who she likes it a lot.
Because, like, being the go-to person.
Oh, yeah. Because soon her 12th pregnancy was underway.
Whoa. 12?
12th.
Okay.
She has 1 living at this point.
Okay.
So Frederick and Mary were married on September 17th, 1870. But here's the thing. It was a legal marriage, but it really wasn't a legal marriage because she was still married to her first husband, George.
Okay. And he's living.
The one, George's dad.
Oh, he took
the one that took George's. Yeah,
Okay,
they took George. She's still married to him because you don't get divorced back then. They die. All of her other husbands had died. He's still living. So they got married, but they didn't. It wasn't 100% legal.
Yeah.
So soon after that, their son Robert was born.
Okay.
Then Mary learned that her former lover, Joseph Natras, was living 30 miles away from her and her new husband.
Is that a problem?
He has a problem because she rekindled the romance.
Oh, that is a problem.
And she persuaded her new family to move near him.
Okay. They weren't near enough?
They weren't near enough. 30 miles is a really, really far time back then. There was no vehicles.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
it was like a 2-day horse ride. Probably more than that. I'm going to go with like 4 to 5 day horse
Are you
ride.
serious?
I don't know.
A horse can't go 30 miles? Is that... I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
It seems like a lot. You're right.
It does seem like a lot, but horses also seem like they could go 30 miles.
I feel like they could.
Okay, so basically she moved him closer.
Okay.
Okay. Mary is now back with her former lover, Joseph Natras. Okay, they moved close together. Just recapping a little bit to catch us all together. Well, Cotton died. Frederick Cotton, the new hubby.
Okay.
He dies that year from gastric
From
fever.
stomach issues.
Stomach issues. You knew it.
I just knew it.
So insurance had been, he had life insurance on him and on his sons as well. So she didn't get the money the sons did.
Okay.
So soon after Frederick's death, basically Joseph Natras moves in with her to become like a lodger with her. Wink, wink.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So she gains employment as a nurse, and so they're staying together. She's working as a nurse. He's her lodger at this point, but they did have a formal relationship, and so everyone's like they're totally banging.
You mean like a tenant?
Tenant? Yeah, like a lodger, like a tenant.
Okay. Like he's
like-
supposedly like renting from her.
Like buying a
Okay,
renting
that
a
makes
room.
sense.
So, but everyone's like, yeah, you guys are totally banging because
Yeah.
you were together before, and now your
Yeah.
husband just died, and she becomes pregnant with her 13th child.
Dude,
Yes.
that's entirely too much.
So Frederick's son, who she still had custody of because he had passed, and so he was with
Yeah.
her. He died in March 1872.
Let me guess. Of stomach issues.
Yep.
Gastric fever.
And Robert, the infant that she had with her late husband, also died.
How is the insurance company not catching on?
Well,
Like, we've paid this woman a lot of policies. So.
well, I mean, you move around a lot too. You know what I mean?
So
If you
they
keep-
were maybe
If you
different.
keep moving around, you wouldn't keep, records of that. They'd only have it with the same insurance company. Then, guess what? Her new lover becomes ill as well,
Stop.
and he dies of gastric fever right after he revised his will in Mary's favor.
Of course.
So then, the only remaining person of Frederick's family is Charles, his stepson, or her stepson.
Yeah.
So guess
How
what?
does she keep up with all of this?
I don't know, because Charles is the only one of his children still remaining out of the 4. Okay, the child she had with Frederick has died. Robert too.
Okay.
So she only has George, and who's her biological child, and Charles, who's her stepson.
Okay.
There's only 2 kids alive in this whole thing. All the Margarets are gone.
Okay. I don't know why I laughed.
Yes.
It's not funny.
11 children
But all
died.
the Margarets.
Yes. Yes. So, Marianne needs, a way to make money now. She's on her own, just supporting this child. So she ends up asking a parish to help. Ends up asking a parish if she can help nurse a woman with smallpox,
What's a parish?
like a
Hospital or something?
no parish is like a person from a church. A parish.
Oh. I feel like I should have done that.
It's okay. I'll start over. It's okay. So she asked.
You don't have to.
So she asked this church guy, okay, Thomas Riley,
Okay.
to help nurse a woman who had smallpox. And then she also told him that, Frederick's last son, Charles, her stepson, was in a bad way and he was going to die probably. And they thought that was super weird.
Yeah.
And then she shortly asked afterwards the same man, the parish, church guy, if she could put Charles into basically like a workhouse to get rid of him.
Oh.
And parish is like, dude, no, that's not cool. He's
Yeah.
underage. He's young. And you're saying he might die soon. So that's super weird. She said, quote, "I won't be troubled long with him. He'll go like all the rest of the Cottons."
Oh. Okay. So she's getting like cocky
Getting
and
a little
just
cocky with it,
very,
right?
Yeah.
5 days later, Mary Ann told Riley that the boy had died. Charles died too.
And he was probably like, okay.
Yeah, he went to the village police.
Yeah.
And he convinced the doctor to delay writing the death certificate for him until the circumstances could be investigated.
Good. Finally.
Someone's stepping it. Someone's noticing that there's all these dead children laying around. So Mary Ann's, first visit after Charles's death was not to the doctor's office. It was to the insurance office.
Classic mistake.
There she found out that there was no money to be paid out until the death certificate was issued.
Oh, I bet she was livid.
Oh, she was super mad. An inquest was held, and the jury returned a verdict of natural causes.
Oh.
You're getting excited there, I can tell.
Yeah,
Natural causes.
I was.
Mary claimed to have used arrowroot to relieve his illness and said that, this parish was just making accusations against her because she had rejected his advances. Yeah. So then, the local newspaper took hold of the story and discovered Mary Ann had moved around and lost 3 of her husbands, a lover,
Stop
a
it.
friend, her mother, and 11 children, all of whom had died of stomach issues.
Stop it.
So the newspaper person dug
Okay.
around. Can you imagine
Good.
that reporter guy being like super snoopy about it?
Like, what is happening?
Yeah, like this
Yeah.
checking off a list.
Stop.
So, here's where it gets really interesting, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, an investigation is launched.
Okay.
Dr. William Kilburn, he's a very important character in this, okay?
Okay.
He had attended Charles. He did the autopsy for Charles. He had kept samples from him after they declared it a natural death. She got the insurance policy, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But he kept samples from it.
Okay.
And he did tests that showed that it did contain arsenic in his system. It was present.
Okay.
Okay? He told the police, and they arrested Mary.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then they decided to exhume Charles's body.
Good.
Mm-hmm. So, at the time, she was pregnant
Stop. With
Mm-hmm.
who?
with her lover's baby. Remember?
Okay.
Natsis.
I forgot. I didn't
It's
know
okay.
if he
There's
was
so
dead
many.
or not
There's so many
at
men.
this point.
He's dead, but she's still got a baby in there. Okay.
Oh, he is dead.
He is
but
dead,
she's pregnant
but
with.
she's still
okay.
pregnant. Yes.
Okay.
So she was charged, but the trial was delayed because she was heavily pregnant. And on January 10th, 1873, she had her 13th and final child, named Margaret
No.
Edith
Stop.
Cotton.
Stop it right now.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not even surprised anymore.
No, her name was Margaret.
Okay.
So here's the thing, okay? We're going to go over some evidence, all right?
Okay.
Okay? Because I'm not convinced that she killed Charles.
Why?
You're going to hear some evidence, and
This is a twist.
Listen,
This is quite the twist.
I'm going to call this the Casey Anthony case of the 1800s.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There is some legit reasonable doubt,
Okay.
okay? So these are the facts. I laid out the facts for you about what happened, okay?
Okay.
So you notice how I didn't say, like, she murdered, because these are the facts. And this is the evidence.
Okay. Interesting.
I know.
Okay.
It is. So the trial began on March 5th in 1873. So they were having a little trouble picking out the prosecutor. So they decided to eventually choose, though, Charles Russell, who had worked on several other poison cases at the time.
Okay.
Because it was a popular thing back then.
Okay. And he would know.
And he would know. Like, he's experienced with this.
Yeah.
And he really wanted to get her. So the truth is, in today's time, there is absolutely no way at all, Mary would have been convicted for this charge. No. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Okay? So there was really no evidence except for a few bodies they tested did have arsenic in them. Okay? But even with the case of Charles, he had been prescribed medication, and what they thought had happened was, an alternative circumstance could be, is that the Dr. Kilburn,
Yeah.
they believed that he grabbed the wrong vial when he was pulling it off the shelf and gave her arsenic instead of
So they're trying to
arrowroot.
put it on the doctor.
Yes, they're trying to put it on the doctor. But there's
Okay.
good reason for that. So they did find like multiple bottles at the scene of the crime, but they were all prescribed by this Kilburn.
Bottles of...
Arsenic.
Oh.
But this gets really interesting, I'm telling you. The doctor testified that in the chemist's shop, there was no other powder or liquid on the same shelf as the arsenic. However, it was seen that they were very close together, and they believed that he was talking whenever he was giving her the medication, and confused the bottles.
Okay. I can see that. I didn't know you could just like prescribe.
Arsenic?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could prescribe
Okay.
arsenic. They weren't very advanced. So I was surprised about the hepatitis thing.
Okay.
Okay?
Maybe I was thinking after that, maybe she turned yellow, and that's how they knew with hepatitis,
Maybe.
like the jaundice part of it.
They
Anyway,
they
keep
didn't
going.
mention that.
I thought of that after.
It's okay. I get it. So the doctor claimed there's no way he could have mixed up the bottles. But they were definitely seen close together when they did their investigation.
Okay.
At the scene, like at the house of Mary's, Dr. Kilbourne was present, and the officer testified that he believed that he stole some bottles from Mary Ann's house
Why?
because they think that he was trying to cover up the fact that he'd given her the wrong medication that ended up actually killing Charles.
Okay.
And this is actually the officer's testimony in court. When we conducted the search of Mary Ann Cotton's house, Dr. Kilbourne was present, and I think that he took some of the empty medicine bottles away. I removed nothing from the house except for what the doctor didn't take.
Okay.
And the doctor said, basically, like, I did not do that.
Why did he take anything?
Exactly. Why did he take anything?
Okay.
He claimed that he took no bottles away except for the medicine that he had on his person at the time.
So they just disappeared?
Yeah, they just disappeared. During the trial, the bottles that were supposedly found at the house during the search could not be produced.
Sus.
Mm-hmm.
Very sus.
Very sus. Mm-hmm. Kilburn was questioned, that he did not have any of these bottles for trial. And he claimed basically that he gave them to the police, and the police lost them. And the police
Okay.
were like, we're the ones asking you. Like, we didn't lose them. So she had a really good defense, honestly. I mean, it's getting more too. That's not just the only thing, okay?
Okay.
Mixed up bottles
'Cause I was
are not,
about to ask questions.
No, mixed up bottles are not the only thing, okay? She had a pretty good lawyer who argued during the trial that Charles had actually died from inhaling arsenic used as green dye in the wallpaper. And that's why there was a little bit of arsenic in his system.
Was that normal?
Yeah, it was super normal. Arsenic. And I kind of compare it to, like, you know how when you go to the doctor, they ask you, like, do you have a house bill and so because they're looking for lead poisoning?
I mean, I've heard a lot about lead poisoning, but I don't think the doctors have ever asked me that.
That's really weird. Your doctors obviously do not care about you
You
because
swear.
they always ask about
You
lead
swear.
paint. Yes, they ask about lead paint because it's so dangerous for you.
I do not feel like any doctor has ever asked me about that.
You should look into that because
I think I have lead poisoning.
you could. Maybe
feel
they
like I
did.
might.
Maybe they just know you're a gone
I
case.
do have a headache today.
You do. So arsenic was super popular. Like, they did use arsenic for different things around the house. They used it for the wallpaper, and they also used it to make soft soap, which is something that is like soap with arsenic in it to kill like bed bugs and lice, things like that.
Okay.
So it was something that was commonplace.
Okay.
Another fact is that they tested all of Mary's cooking items, all of her utensils, all of her pots and pans, and they could find not one trace of arsenic residue in them.
So, but if she poisoned them, it would have to be on one of those things? I feel like there could be a way around that. Did she throw it away? Because...
There could be. See, she could have thrown it away. But also, you know, she didn't just get like new items every time she remarried. I mean, you would have to keep some of these items like continuous through.
Yeah.
And if you were poisoning people like long term, like you'd have to put it in their soup at some point. Like
Did
something.
they bring up the fact that literally everyone around her has died?
Okay, well, we're getting to that. We're getting that on.
Like, that's the question I want to know.
I feel like you're like the prosecuting attorney, like just like, but everyone else died. Here's all this other evidence. Okay, wait a second.
Okay,
it's gonna get
my
even,
apologies.
It's gonna get crazier. Okay. So basically, another doctor testified on the stand that it'd be almost impossible for her to remove any arsenic from the cooking materials without there being some type of a trace of it.
Okay.
Especially because they only had soap and water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the prosecuting office is like, crap. Okay? So if she's got this from a doctor prescribed, if and she has some laying around her house, we need to find proof that she has purchased like arson.
Yeah.
Arsenic poisoning. We need to prove it. That's the biggest thing. All of a sudden, a mysterious random witness appears.
Stop.
Mm-hmm. His name was Thomas Detchen. Okay? He gave the following evidence. He said, I am Thomas. I am an assistant chemist to Mr. William Owen of Newcastle. I remember a woman 4 years ago coming to my master's shop between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on January 21st, 1869.
Now, how does he remember that?
Listen, it gets worse. And asking for 3 pennies worth of soft soap and arsenic. She gave her name as Mary Ann Booth, and that is the person who I see in the prisoner's dock.
Okay. Well, I have questions.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he had that written down somewhere. Like, how did he remember those exact between 4 years,
4 years
ago?
A woman named Mary Ann Booth, not Cotton, Booth, and he pointed her out in the crowd.
Okay.
Okay. So he's saying that she used a fake name, basically.
Okay.
So they even gave testimony. The prosecutor gave testimony during the trial that Detchen had actually pointed her out of a group of 12 people and said that that's the woman who bought it.
Okay.
And you recognized her. This is while she was in prison. Here's the thing. There's no evidence that they ever did this lineup. Mary never mentions it to her family. None of the police know about this lineup. Only the prosecutor brought it up during trial.
Oh. I thought you meant it was like, that lineup was like a recent thing. Like they did for...
Yeah, they lined up a bunch of people. And he claims that the prosecutor claimed that he pointed Mary out.
But no one else saw.
But no one else knew this lineup ever existed. Just the prosecutor knew about it.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't... So
Why would he
Marion
do that?
said that it didn't happen. I never had this lineup. I would remember going there. And they think the prosecutor made it up, basically.
And paid that guy off.
And paid that guy off,
that
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because even the jail was like, there's no mention. We have no record
Yeah.
of us ever doing that. And she was in custody at that time.
He was really trying to find things, wasn't he?
He was. So then, he does even further damage with her case. And said that the woman who had bought the soft soap and arsenic, wanted to kill bugs and stuff on linen, blah, blah, blah. And that he told her that he could not sell her the mixture because she needed a witness with it. Basically, like, if you're going to buy poison, there has to be, like, someone who signs that, I swear we're going to use this on good things, not devil things.
Okay.
I don't know why I said devil, but you know what I mean. He even said that he offered to sell her an alternative mixture called Bug Specific, which she could get without having a witness to help sign for it.
Okay.
She said that she would rather have the other, And I again said, not without a witness. Is what he said during the trial. He said, "You've got to come back here with the lady. Okay?
Okay.
You can have this other stuff." But she didn't want that stuff. She wanted the arsenic. Wait a second. So, she left. This woman named Mary left and came back with a woman named Elizabeth Robson. He testified that he said he could now sell her the mixture, but required that he make detailed notes in the poison book. Because you had to have records.
Okay.
The details I wrote in the book are as follows. January 21st, 1869, Mary Ann Booth, 3 pennyworth of arsenic and soft soap for destroying bugs. Signed Mary Ann Booth and Elizabeth Robson. The quantity she received was 1 ounce of arsenic and 1 ounce of half soap.
Wow.
A lot for 1 ounce.
Yeah.
It said that he charged Mary Ann for 6 pence for the mixture, which I guess was just a couple pennies.
6 pence?
Yeah, 6 pence.
Okay.
6 pence and Ford. So he supposedly sold this mixture to her when she was living miles away, and she was also 5.5 months pregnant at that time. He never mentioned that she was pregnant. A pregnant woman came in, and that she was heavily pregnant at that time too.
Yeah, you think you would remember that and say that.
And then years later, a woman, right after the trial happened, a woman came forward named Elizabeth Robson, came forward and said, "Yes, my friend Mary Ann Booth bought that medication.
Stop it."
She's the one who bought the arson for the bugs, and I signed for her." It wasn't Mary Ann Cotton at all.
That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
So, I mean, if I was the jury there, I would...
This was after the trial. She came forward after the trial because she didn't know. She was miles away from the trial.
Yeah.
It's not like they were posting it live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they did have, evidence that a few different things, that there was arsenic in the bodies. But just like we said, there were small amounts.
Did they get were they able to get all the bodies and test them?
No.
Just that one?
Just that one.
Okay.
They just tested that one, and I think they did her late husband's as well, Frederick Cotton's.
Okay.
And he has a small amount of arsenic in his body as well. But they also claim, too, that it could have been, arsenic was like...
Basically anything?
Basically anything, yeah.
Breathing?
Breathing.
With near wallpaper?
Yes. It's the same as like, you were like, well, she had a little bit of bleach in her system when, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could have happened to any which way. You could have cleaned a shower, you're breathing in, you know what I mean? Anything of that sort. So basically, she was also known to like clean with the soap as well. So there's like a very good chance you could just be having your hand on it and absorb right through your skin.
Yeah.
So, and it's possible like the arsenic flaked from the house. There's just a whole bunch of different ways that it could have happened. Airborne.
So it's going to be really hard to prove that it was on purpose.
That it was administered
Yeah.
versus exposure to it.
Yeah.
And the amount was not much because they were already passed
Yeah.
that time.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, it could have been inhaled, whatever it would be. And then even a doctor testified that it would be acceptable to believe that for the amount of arsenic seen, that it was from the wallpaper.
Yeah.
Because that was used to design the patterns and stuff. Beauty and death.
Really, this is really pushing my buttons.
So they sent this off to like the government to debate this about the arsenic poisoning because they were, both doctors were like fighting about it.
Yeah.
About if it could happen or if it could not happen. And the government actually took the side of Mary and said that it was completely possible that arsenic could be in a person's body from just like
not murder,
just exposure of it, and it could specifically attack like the organs. So basically, they had a really good defense.
This is so they never were like everyone else around you has also died. Like they couldn't bring that up.
I'm sure they brought that up, but like
they could never prove it.
She was only being convicted of Charles's murder. She was only being on that trial.
Dude. Mm-hmm. She got lucky.
She got lucky? She got lucky.
She got lucky.
Did she get lucky?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what is about to happen, but I feel like with a good defense and with everyone saying that.
So in the
she
middle
got
of the
lucky.
trial, Dr. Kilburn, it was found out that he had taken parts of Charles's stomach and buried it in his yard.
Ooh.
And had redug it up
Stop.
for evidence.
Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, what do you think? That's the big question. Why did he do that? He did the autopsy and he got rid of the stomach. He stole the bottles from the house. Allegedly. Stole the bottles from the house.
So you think he did it?
I think that Dr. Kilburn made a mistake and that boy died because of it.
And he's trying to cover it.
And he's trying to cover it up as he goes. Why else would you bury the stomach? It's like they brought it up for court, like, hey, we need that stomach. And he's like, let me go dig it out of the yard.
Yeah, well, how did that even come? Why would he even bring that up, ever?
I don't know. They probably were like, they probably found dirt on it and stuff. I mean, can you imagine a stomach trying to get it clean after putting dirt all over it?
But why would he ever be like, hey, willingly, like, hey, I have a stomach buried in my yard, so you guys need that
I guess
for
you had to produce it.
evidence?
I guess they
Like,
had. They probably bugged him for a while and were like, you need to produce the stomach. And he's like, oh, well.
But how did they know that he had it out in his
I
yard?
don't know. I just know that they did. He might have said, like, hey, I've got it back there for science
Stop.
purposes.
I am so dead right
And
now.
he just randomly buried his stomach in the backyard. So prosecutors also stated that
Okay.
Charles had been beaten 4 days before his death. Although, the autopsy revealed no bruising or cuts consistent with this.
Why? Who said he was beaten?
The prosecutor,
Why would he say that?
because he's just making crap up at
He's
this
just
point.
really
He's just making
doing
it up at this.
everything he can.
He wants her. He thinks that she killed all these people and he's
Okay.
wants her. So the autopsy, however, did reveal at his first autopsy as non-suspicious death.
So, do you think that she killed any of them?
Well, I'm going to tell you, the jury retired for about 90 minutes and then came back.
Okay.
And they found her guilty.
What? Stop.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was not what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Why did they choose guilty even after all of that?
Well, they probably didn't have all the information we had of, like, the woman came forward saying, like, hey.
Okay, because they thought that really was her.
Yeah, they thought that. They believed what the state was telling them. They believed that he was beaten 4 days before his murder. And the only thing that they really had to go off of, because we have hindsight, but the only thing they had to go off of was that the doctor or respected doctor in town might have mixed up bottles.
Okay.
I mean, what are you really going to think?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I did not expect that.
Yeah, it keeps going.
Okay.
So, the Times reported on March 20th of that year that after conviction, the wretched woman exhibited strong emotions. Mm-hmm. But this gave place in a few hours to her habitual cold, reserved demeanor, and while she harbors a strong conviction that the royal clemency will be extended towards her, she She asserts her innocence of the crime that she's been convicted of. Basically, she keeps saying she didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm innocent. Like, stop. They're gonna.
Yeah.
I believe in the system. They're gonna grant me clemency because I didn't do this.
Okay.
So a lot of people didn't think she did this,
Right.
especially after that woman came forward. So several petitions were presented. They kept throwing them out there, but no one was biting on it because they were actually the person that hired the prosecutor to do the case.
Okay.
So of course they're not going to say like, "Oh, I did," you know what I mean? Our
Like, we
prosecutor
messed up.
lied.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not going to do that to him. So on March 24th, 1873, Mary Ann Cotton was set to be hanged.
Oh. This story has taken a lot of turns that I did not expect.
As she was walking, she did not walk to like the gallows very bravely, like stout. It was very obvious that she was quivering
Yeah.
and very upset. She, basically her last words were, "Heaven is my home, Lord take me home." And she repeatedly screamed over and over again. They put the rope around her neck. and William Calcraft, who was a 73-year-old known executioner. He'd done like 300 to 400 executions in his life
Yeah.
and his career. He was basically known to enjoy his work.
Ew.
Like he had a legal way to murder people and kill people
Yeah, that's...
and make them suffer.
Sir.
He was known for shortening his rope so that they suffered whenever they dropped and didn't break their neck. It just strangulized them.
Ew.
Mm-hmm. So according to observers, she was strangled like a rabid dog with no dignity even in death.
See, that's sad now because I think maybe she was innocent. Like, I'm not as mad at her as I was in the beginning.
Yep.
And also, all I can think of is Handmaid's Tale when you say hang someone.
Stop it. So the executioner was known. He was described as came from a family of slow worms. He choked his prisoners to death. He throttled them.
Slow worms?
Yeah, slow worms. Just the worst. I don't know what that means, but it sounds terrible. I hope no one describes me as slow worms. Of Mary Ann's 13 children, only 2 survived. Margaret Edith and her son George from her marriage to James Robinson, the one that he took custody of and the one she had while she was incarcerated. You ready for the next part?
Dude, no, I don't know.
Okay. They made a nursery rhyme about her.
No, they didn't.
They
Which
did.
one?
I'm going to sing
Stop
it to you.
You're going to sing it
I'm
to
going to
me?
sing it. I mean, I'm going to say it, but I'm going to sing it, kind of.
Okay.
Mary Ann Cotton, she's dead and she's rotten, lying in bed with her eyes wide open. Sing, sing, oh, what should I sing? Mary Ann Cotton, she's tied up with string. Where, up in the air, selling black pudding, a penny a pear. Mary Ann Cotton, she's dead and forgotten, lying in bed with her bones all rotten. Sing, sing, what can I sing? Mary Ann Cotton, tied up with string.
Stop it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Children.
Who sings that?
Like nursery rhyme children, like, the same one with, like Bloody Mary, all this stuff, you know what I mean?
Did you look it up and listen to the actual version of it? Because
No,
we should.
because I don't think they recorded it in the 1800s.
I'm sure there's a recording
I just
somewhere.
did a nursery rhyme singing with it. But yeah.
Ew, I don't like that at all.
I know. What do you think?
That blew my mind. You were right. I can't decide.
I can't either.
I still think she's guilty. I do still think she's guilty.
I don't know, man. The way she acted at the gallows too, they said it was terrible. She was just screaming, "God take me!"
That part's really sad.
You know what I mean? And she proclaimed her innocence up to the end of it, and she just expected to get a clemency because she said she didn't do it.
I know, but that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people dying, but also people died a lot back then.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I want to lean more towards guilty. I can see the other side too, but that's a good one.
I know.
How did you find that?
And the thing is, she really didn't make a lot of money off of their deaths either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though she had life insurance policies on them, she really didn't make a lot of money. You would think they'd be extravagant amounts, but they weren't. They were basically enough for funeral costs.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Did she do it?
Let us know what you guys think.
I really do, because I'm really torn on it. If she was really just in the crosshairs of something, bad circumstances, I really don't think she killed Charles, though.
I mean, literally, that would be the unluckiest person if literally all those people around you died.
Yeah.
It's suspicious that it's the same
way.
Yeah.
Same type. Yep.
Yeah, let us know what you think about that.
Weird, right?
That was a really, that was a
weird.
good one.
Ups and downs,
You
huh?
can probably hear me moving around in my chair during that one because I was getting into it. Okay.
So I had 3 songs during this. One, the Bad at Love one, and then the nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
And then the Black Widow Baby.
Which one?
I can't sing this one because I can't even measure it.
What's this one for?
Black Widow Baby.
Oh, Katy Perry.
No, that's not at all. Don't you ever. That is so far wrong.
Katy Perry?
Katy Perry did not sing the Black Widow song.
Yes, she did.
She did not.
I'm about to look it up
You
right now.
Google it.
I'm Googling it.
All right, I want to hear your
You
reaction.
mean it was an old one?
on this popular song, Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, because I'm definitely going to hold on. This is definitely worth a Google.
Iggy Azalea.
Yeah.
Iggy Azalea.
Yeah.
Okay. So close.
You weren't at all. Yeah, so there's 3 songs in this one.
Okay. If we can find a recording for that nursery, we'll post it.
Yes.
With it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've officially hit 2,000 downloads.
Oh, that is super exciting.
It is exciting. We've grown way faster than we thought we were going to. So yeah, if there's anyone you want us to cover, send it to us. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and we're about to be on Twitter.
Woo.
I'm gonna work.
I'm really excited about the Twitter.
And we have a website, murderwords.com. So reach out to us anywhere you want, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.